All right, we're live. So, tonight I decided I'm going to record a video and I'm going to do it with you. So this way you can see what I do, how I do it, um, setup. I realize that my room is actually not clean enough to show you my setup. I do have like 3 lights. Actually, you see them. 1, 2, and 3. Oh, you see all 3 now. I do have 3 lights in front of me. The background looks a bit different because I have another camera right here. And yeah, we're going to record this, and I have like a lavalier mic, wireless. I don't know. I got this on Amazon. I don't know how much it was, but $100 or whatever. But this is so much easier than having like a boom mic or whatever because it's I can go anywhere. I don't have to set up a room for this, and yeah. So I'm just gonna record a video. I'm gonna go through this. You'll see how I do it. You'll see how much I mess up, and you'll appreciate the amount of editing that goes into making these. Hey, Ken. So let's do this. Let's make a video. So today's video is going to be about getting started with what's this called? With infrastructure as code. So I haven't really written anything down. When I do my videos, I basically rehearse them in my head, right? So I see them in my head. I know what I want to say. 100% chance that I'm probably going to mess up, but it's part of making a video. So yeah, and my camera is down. So if I look down when I record, that's why. All right. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's do video. Oh, that actually was a good setup. I don't know why I changed it. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Oh, this is not good lighting. I have like major shadow down here. Usually you use this standing up, so... I'm not a big fan of the light. How do I change this? You know what? We'll go with it. If it's bad, it's bad. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we'll be talking about how you can get started in cloud. No. So usually when I stand up, I actually would have my Apple Watch because I have an iPhone recording. That's the camera. And I have my Apple Watch. Where are you, little camera on the Apple Watch? I have too many things on here. I'll show you what I do. There we go. So you can see this is me on the Apple Watch. I can start and stop. So that's what I would usually do. But since I'm right here in front, so I'll do it manually. Oh, I quit, exited out. And one thing I do have to do, because it's happened multiple times that I've recorded a whole video without checking if there was sound. Everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this, cool. I've recorded videos with no sound on, so. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we'll be talking about how you can get started with infrastructure as code, and I'll tell you what various ways of doing infrastructure as code they are out there, how to use them, and where to look for information on how to get started with these. Let's go. All right, so that's my intro. I may redo the intro later down the road. But surprisingly, I'm actually quite okay with this one, but we'll see. Maybe I'll do another take right now just so that we have this down. It's good to record multiple times because then you have choices. Sometimes, you're like, oh, I didn't say this, or it sounds different, or whatever. So, hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we'll be talking about Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video, we'll be talking about how you can get started with infrastructure as code. And I'll tell you various ways you can do infrastructure as code, what resources that are available to you to learn infrastructure as code, and what are the benefits of those various approaches. So let's go. Yeah, this one wasn't as great, but hey. All right. So we have the intro. The next thing is like saying what are the various what is infrastructure as code, because people come onto this video and they're like, well, what's that? So I did make a video before, so I'll mention that, and I'll also quickly summarize it because infrastructure as code is not a topic in here. So yeah. All right, so first, what is infrastructure as code? Well, I made a full video right here, but we'll talk, no, never mind. I'll mention it at the end. So what is, no, maybe I can't put those two at the same level. Okay, whatever. All right, so what is infrastructure as code? No. Before we get started, what is infrastructure as code? Well, infrastructure as code is a way to create and manage resources in the cloud using code or code-ish like language, as opposed to manually. No, this is not great. This doesn't flow. All right, so what is infrastructure as code? Well, infrastructure as code is a way to manage your cloud resources in a programmatic way that allows you to have things like version control or collaboration with other people or auditing. There's many advantages to using infrastructure as code, and that is why more and more companies and more engineers are moving towards infrastructure as code with their cloud deployments. Okay. Yeah. We'll do it again. So what is infrastructure as code? So infrastructure as code is a way for, no. So what is infrastructure as code? Infrastructure as code is a way for cloud engineers and people who work in cloud in general to manage their cloud resources and infrastructure. So what is infrastructure as code? Well, infrastructure as code is a way to manage your cloud infrastructure and resources in a programmatic way. The advantages of infrastructure as code is you have the benefits that you have with programming, such as version control, auditing of changes, repeatable deployments. No, that's very annoying. Everything is good in my head, but when the words come out, they don't come out. All right, so what is infrastructure as code? Infrastructure as code is a way to manage your cloud resources and infrastructure in a programmatic way. So what this allows you to do is audit what is being done in your infrastructure. It allows you to create large deployment programmatically. So let's say you want to create 5 virtual machines who are the same. You can just put that in the loop and create 5 virtual machines that are the same. It allows you to collaborate with people because you have code. You can use tools like GitHub and things like that to collaborate on your infrastructure with other people, which is not something you can do in portals, right? In the cloud portals. What was I going to say? That's okay if I have pauses because then It will come back to me. Basically, there's going to be cuts in this section, or I'm going to use one of the ones that flows most naturally. All right, so there are multiple ways of doing infrastructure as code. There's two really approaches to that. The first one is imperative programming, and the second one is declarative programming. Now, what is the difference between these two? Well, imperative programming So what is the difference between these two? Well, let's take an example. Let's say you're asking somebody to go pick up a computer for you, right? You have two options on how to do that. The first option is to say, hey, this is the computer I want. It looks like this. It has these specifications. And just go to the store and buy the computer for me. And at the end, you just get the computer you asked for. The second option is imperative programming, where you say, all right, you go, you take your keys, you go in your car, you drive to that store. When you get to that store, you talk to this person, you say you want this, this, and this. You take out your credit card, you pay for it, you get the laptop, you get back in your car, you drive back home, you open the door, you come to see me, and you give me the laptop. Now that's imperative programming, where you say every single steps. And declarative programming is where you say, this is the end result I want, you take care of the rest. Okay. I don't want to make segments that are too big, because then it's hard to edit. And I may re-record this segment just because there's a few things that I thought about. And it's good to have choices, like I keep saying. All right, so there are two types of infrastructure as code paradigms. The first one is imperative programming, where you define and you write. The first type is imperative programming. And that is when you write code the way you think about it, right? It's like, here's all the steps you do, here's what you have to check, this is the errors you have to check for, and so on and so forth, and you keep going and you write the code explicitly, like you would do with any programming languages. The second one is declarative programming. And declarative programming, the difference with that is that you basically say, this is the end result I want. And the program that is reading your code is in charge of making all the decisions for creating this code and running it. So let's take an example. So for example, let's say we want to get a laptop. We want to buy a laptop. What we can do is go the imperative way. And in the imperative way, we define every single step. So get in the car, start the car, drive to the store, talk to the person to help you, ask for these specifications, take out your credit card, buy it, go back to your car, drive back home, and come see me with the laptop. That's imperative programming, where you say everything, and you can add more scenarios, like if you have red light, stop, and things like that. Declarative programming, on the other hand, is where you say, this is the laptop I want, this is the model, this is the specifications I want, and just get me the laptop. And the person will just go and get you a laptop, and you trust them to get the laptop the right way. It was a bit longer, but yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. All right, so what are the advantages of both of these options? Because clearly, like, they both exist. There has to have a reason for both of them to exist. Well, imperative programming basically came first. It's really defined. It's the classical approach to programming, where you say, do this, 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 step by step. The advantage of it is that you are fully in control over what is happening. So if you want an error to be handled a specific way, you are in charge of making that. So for example, any error you encounter, you want to get an email saying, hey, this error happened or whatever. So that's an advantage of it. And you fully control what is happening. Declarative programming, on the other hand, the advantage of this is that you get to focus on the infrastructure part of things, meaning that you don't have to worry about the code. You don't have to write the code. All you have to do is say, this is what I want it to look like. Think about it as HTML. If you've done HTML before, you say, this is what I want you to print on my web page. What do you do? Where you put the pixels? I don't care. This is your job to figure that out. I tell you what I wanted it to look like. I give you the structure. You figure out how to render that. Yeah, that was okay. All right. So nowadays, declarative programming is the most common one. And that's because sorry, dogs are being weird. Okay. All right, nowadays, imperative programming is the one that most people use. And the reason for that is that people want to focus on the infrastructure part of it. There's a lot to do with infrastructure. And if you have to script the API for every single thing you want to deploy in the cloud, you will spend your life, full-time job doing that. And the reason I know that's true is because declarative programming is based on imperative tools. Imperative tools take the declarative data and run that, and somebody builds all that logic. So yeah. So in terms of imperative tools, you have obviously three major ones, more or less major, which are the ones that are built in to the cloud provider. So Azure Resource Manager, I think AWS is CloudFormation. So, so in terms of declarative ones, so whatever. So declarative programming is the one that most people go for nowadays because it allows you to focus directly on the infrastructure, and it doesn't require you to really script all those API calls and all that stuff to the cloud provider. And there's three basic ones that everybody probably knows about, and those are the ones that the cloud providers have. So Azure Resource Manager, AWS Cloud Foundation, and I don't know what Google Cloud has, but they have their own. And it's really a way for them to just be like, hey, this, you want to deploy your infrastructure programmatically, here's a tool for you to do that. I would recommend you learn the one for your cloud provider more or less, but there is a huge player in the market right now, and that is Terraform. Terraform is a cross-platform provider. Terraform is a cross-platform declarative infrastructure as code tool. Can you stop? What is happening here? So what that means is that you can use Terraform, you can learn Terraform and use it for every cloud provider, Google, AWS, Azure. It will work with all of them, and it even works with on-premise resources. So I think it works with VMware and things like that. So that's why I would personally highly recommend you learn that tool first, because then you are not limiting yourself to a single cloud provider. Um, What's happening here? Okay, the cats are being weird now. So I highly recommend you learn Terraform because you are then now no, hold up. I highly recommend you learn Terraform because you are not um and stuff. So I highly recommend you learn Terraform first, because then you are not stuck with a single cloud provider. You can use that knowledge that you know from Terraform to deploy and manage resources in other cloud providers. In terms of resources for learning Terraform, I find their learning section a little bit lacking compared to other bigger platform like Microsoft Learn and things like this. But they do have some good, interesting resources. You can find them in the description. I put them in the description. Um, Another thing that you can do is definitely go on YouTube and search for Terraform classes. But one thing I really like doing when I was learning Terraform is going through their GitHub page with examples. They have a ton of examples on how to deploy certain infrastructures. So once you have the basic about what is a provider, what is a resource, what is data, what are variables, and all that stuff, you can go to those examples and see how they deploy certain infrastructure and reproduce what they're doing yourself. And that would really help you like work through things, and don't just copy and paste, like rework it. All right, as far as imperative programming is concerned, that's slightly more difficult to give you a tool, because really now you're talking about programming languages. And I mean, the one I will always give you for any programming, especially in the IT space, is PowerShell. I know that AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure all support PowerShell. So you can write your code, you can do your code with PowerShell, one programming language, cross platform, to get started with infrastructure as code. Another one that is obvious, is the command line interface for your cloud provider. You can write scripts for these. They are different for every cloud provider. So really, just like the declarative one, you will have to learn a new command line interface for each cloud provider, which is kind of not the greatest. So that's why I could recommend PowerShell. Now, another thing, if you are interested in going into cloud software development, right? If you're trying to create cloud native solutions that can dynamically create and destroy resources as needed, or control resources, I highly recommend you check out the repositories that they have for their software development kits, SDKs, and you learn those. As far as program, if you already want a programming language for scripting and managing infrastructure, it looks like Python may be the best way to go. It's one of the most used languages, especially in IT. I'm going to call it IT. Um, so that's where you would probably get the bigger bangs for your bucks. But the bigger bang for your buck, that's probably where you would get the biggest bang for your bucks. But they do have SDKs in other languages. So if you're more familiar with Node.js, you will have an SDK for Node or C# or whatever. There will be SDKs for the major language providers. One thing I did notice in Terraform, even though I have not worked that way in Terraform, is that the underlying code that Terraform runs is written in Go. So that might not be a bad language to learn, because then you can not only know how to use the SDK, but you can take that language, that knowledge. Not only do you know how to use that SDK, but you can take that knowledge of the SDK and port it into Terraform to create your own custom providers for Terraform. Whew. That was a long section. That's gonna be that's gonna be fun to edit later on. So we'll see. Sorry, I have this jumping icon that just bothers me. Hey, hey, hey. These dogs are just so... All right, let me think if there's anything that I missed. I think that's good. I think that's really the meat of it. Most people don't really go past 3.5 minutes, so 3.5 minutes is really like... anything beyond that is gravy, right? Yeah, so at this point we're at the conclusion. And basically what I'm going to do is tell people, okay, this is what I would do. This is how I learned it. And I'll see you in the next video, right? So personally, the way I learned infrastructure as code is I started with PowerShell, because that's my IT background. Everything is automated with PowerShell. But then for bigger deployment, it really made way more sense to go into declarative infrastructure. But if I will give you one caveat about learning one or the other, is that declarative infrastructure as code is not complete, because you are relying on a third party to write the code to deploy resources for you. That means that if they haven't worked on something, the only way for you to deploy these resources are through imperative means. So do learn declarative first, but don't neglect the imperative, because you may get stuck. There's a lot of things that I have personally experienced where declarative just doesn't work because there's no code written by anyone for this. So be careful. All right, so if you want to learn more about infrastructure as code, like I said at the beginning of this video, I have a... All right, so if you want to learn more about infrastructure as code, like I said at the beginning of this video, I have a full video in the description about... No, that's not what I want to do. Hello, LF. How are you? All right. So basically, the trick to ending a YouTube videos is to not end it. Not that it matters really at this point when you're at the end of the video, but the trick is to make a conclusion that is an opening to a new video. So the way I would do it, the most natural segue for this video is my infrastructure as code video. So I have to come up with a way to make it so it's not like the video's over until I said this is the video you want to watch. All right, let's see. one important thing before you get started with infrastructure as code is to get some understanding about what infrastructure as code is. And if you're looking for a video to watch, I recommend this one that I made about what is infrastructure as code. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hey, you know what? Actually worked. Great. That's so nice to see this because I'm planning to start. That's so nice to see this because I'm planning to start my channel about cloud, and I'm a little nervous, mostly because English is my second language. Well, two things for you. One, you don't have to make them in English because everybody makes content in English. There may be a market for your native language. And two, English is not my primary language. My primary language is French. So you are in good company. And yeah, I think it's good for people to see this. It's not, you see these big creators and you see these videos and you're like, okay, that seems easy, but then it probably took like days for them to film and rehearse and plan these videos. And it just, let's demystify what it takes to do YouTube, because it's not easy. All right, 31 minutes. Yeah, that's about as long as it takes me to record a video. So this is about, I don't know, 20 something minutes worth of videos. It's gonna be cut down to less than 10 or around 10. So yeah, if you just joining the live stream right now, just go back and see like all the mistakes I made. Sorry for touching the microphone. Wait, can I change now? We can. Well, I'm not going to change the thing. Yeah, I think that a channel about cloud in my language, Portuguese, would be good because we don't have many channels, but I want to practice my English. Well, you can always. One thing I tried to do, and I kind of wanted to do it, but at the same time, I don't have time. I wanted to start the same channel, make the same channel, same videos in French and in English, just two different channels. You can also dub your videos, right, in English. Why not? But Portuguese is a good language to have. Brazil. I'm assuming you're Brazilian, given the time that it is now, and you're still up, or from Latin America. But yeah, there's probably a big need for this in Portuguese. So, and it's funny because when I search for like ideas on YouTube, like cloud computing, and one of the main things is like in Hindi. So there's a need for foreign language. Probably not Brazil as much as Chinese and Indian, but there's definitely a need. So the one thing I think is difficult about doing cloud in your native language is that everything in cloud is not right. As far as I can tell, there's no translated in interface for cloud computing. So if you don't speak English, maybe you shouldn't be doing cloud. So food for thought. But yeah, start a YouTube channel. That it's fun. It's not the easy kind of fun. It's the challenging kind of fun. It's a lot of work, and yeah, it is a lot of work. It's very painful, but it's rewarding, as people watch it, and when you get good feedback saying, "Hey, this is a great video. I appreciate it." It makes you want to keep going. So it's fun. It's a good community. All right. So my next step for the video, because I recorded everything on my iPhone, I have two options now. I can either sync it Hope my neighbors aren't upset at me for whistling this loud. I also thought about that, but I think it requires too much time to manage 2 channels. Maybe I'll ask a friend to help me with the Portuguese channel. Yeah, I did one video in French. I basically recorded every part twice. Like when you saw me record the videos, I recorded every part twice, once in French, once in English. It didn't do so great. For some reason, people actually disliked my French video for some whatever. But yeah, one thing that Gwen does, I don't know if you know Gwen. She's a creator here on YouTube too, and she works for Microsoft. She actually has like live streams with Microsoft Reactor, and she does one live stream in English, then she does the same live stream in Spanish another time. So that's also an option. Just do live streams, because then you don't have to edit. And you get to build a community and have people. Because this live stream right here, like 36 minutes, that's 36 minutes worth of content that I don't have to edit. So you can edit it, but it's going to take me about 4 or 5 hours to edit this video that I just filmed. So yeah, maybe 2 live streams is better than 1 video. But yeah, so my next step is take this and either wait overnight, which is what I'm going to do because I am not editing tonight. It's like too late. I have to wake up early in the morning. Wait for it to sync to iCloud, download it in the morning, make Final Cut Pro process the video, all the rendering and all that stuff, and then I'll start editing tomorrow night. Yeah, that's a good guide. She does it differently than I do, but I'm not, Yeah, Gwen's guide is pretty good. Let me see if I can find it and put it. I'll put it in the link so people have. I don't care about this. I want to see her code for. I'm trying to find her guide. 7-day YouTube starter kit. Yes. That's the guide for people who come here. Yeah, that's a good guide. I don't plan or script or rehearse as much as she does. I mean, last time I looked at it, yeah, I already just wing it. I practice the script in my head, wing it, spend more time editing. It's a it's a trade-off basically. The more you script, the less you edit. The more you the less you script, the more you edit. But it's fun. I like, especially when you do live streams like this. It's no need to script or anything. So very fun. All right. Cool. Well, it was nice talking with you, LF and Kin. And yeah, it was fun recording this video. I highly doubt that I will actually make a video about editing because that is just too taxing on my computer to render the video and stream and but just know that maybe by Monday this video will be edited and it will be visible, and I will definitely put the link of this live stream into the video for behind the scenes. But yeah. All right. Well, that's it for tonight. It's about bedtime because I have to wake up. Yeah. Thank you. I I do my best. They're mostly not up to my standards, but you know, do the best with what you have. And honestly, you know what the trick about YouTube is? Don't bother. Quality and entertainment really doesn't, um, it's something that comes and goes, right? It's not, you could put a ton of effort into a video and YouTube will be like, you know what? This video you just winged. Perfect. Like my videos that have the most views, like 10,000 views, did not rehearse, did not practice, barely edited them. So, it's about finding topics more than it is about the video itself. But yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, if people like this stream, I'll do more with recording videos. I still will do more streams, but yeah. All right. Good night, everyone. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.